Leading us up to news time will be Crystal Howell. Of course, she is a certified internal auditor, and she's going to help us manage those pennies. We heard how tough it is for some just now, from Senator Tony Moore, especially those who are out of work in the tourism sector. Crystal, they need your help to manage what little they will receive. And we hope her discussions go well this week and that we can hear that they can get some kind of what Senator Moore calls, and I don't want to misquote her, I want to get the name right, this wage subsidy that could be offered to the workers. But as they look at this last NIS check and try to help them into the next month, what are we speaking about today to help those workers?
I was listening to the senator, and it was actually quite sobering because I think persons are now being faced with the reality that the NAS funds that they would have been receiving, no matter how small it was, it's now coming to an end. And I am hoping that persons would have been putting into practice some of the things that we would have been discussing over the past year. I also hope there's something I hear persons say a lot, which it kind of makes me feel a little sad when persons say it's only a little bit, it can't do anything much, might as well spend it. And I keep thinking that it's unfortunate that persons say this. I can understand if you have bills to pay and it's the very last thing that you have and you spend it on something responsibly. But thinking as though that a small amount cannot stretch, it only compounds the issues that you'll be facing and makes the situation worse in the long run. No matter how small the amount is, it is going to go towards helping you out of a hole rather than having nothing at all. And now that we're coming down to the last paycheck, I can only re-emphasize a lot of the things we would have been talking about before I move on to the remaining slides, because looking for opportunities to be able to start your own business. If you've been laid off, I know it's difficult mentally, but now the rubber is hitting the road and reality is setting in, where the possibility is after even 6 months, you may not be able to get back the job you would have had before, even if it's something you would like to do. And I heard mention of persons who have opted not to go back into the tourism sector. I'm hoping these persons would have found their footing and have been following the advice in terms of being able to manage the finances for these small businesses, because I think that that would be highly commendable, being able to pivot and to turn yourself around to be able to support yourself in another fashion. But for those who have been finding difficulties, especially with a lot of the moratoriums coming to an end, because many of them would have been 3 to 6 months, I definitely hope that there is a national discussion, especially for those who at this point would have obviously been hoping that within 6 months they would have found employment again so that they can manage these payments. But if that has not been the case, I know it's a very difficult conversation because you have to look at it from both ends. Yes, the person is still out of work and still finding difficulties in managing payments, but financial institutions, I'm sure, have calculated how much leniency they can extend, and they may have come to the end of that period, at least for a whole scale purpose. And hopefully, they're still able to extend it for individual circumstances. But again, this is a discussion that people need to have, and hopefully, it's done on a national level so that everyone can be on the same page where these things are concerned, because everybody, it's an interdependency. If persons are unable to pay their mortgages and their obligations, these businesses will struggle and the economy in turn will find it very difficult to rebound. So there needs to be a very delicate balance in making sure that persons don't fall through the cracks, but that at the same time, businesses and other financial institutions don't run themselves into trouble to the point where they have to foreclose because they themselves are unable to meet their financial obligations by extending so much credit. So it's a difficult conversation all the way around for both individuals and business owners at this time. The pandemic is something that is unprecedented and it's difficult to always prepare for it. But I have seen Barbadians who have surprised even probably themselves in terms of their resilience and ability to transform their situations and to branch out onto their own. I myself have heard persons who've said that they've discovered businesses that they actually would prefer to continue into rather than go back to the jobs that they would have formerly had. And while this is obviously not the majority, it is still heartening to see that even in a time of a pandemic, that persons have been able to find these opportunities to support themselves alternatively and to even do more than just survive, but to thrive.
Resilience and just looking ahead to better days. And I think that is the message that I'm glad that you're sharing with our viewers, and that I would like to share with them as well. Because as I look at some of these Facebook comments, people talking about mortgages and concerns about meeting those payments and other issues, we can only hope that we continue to ride this wave, as some Barbadians, as you have mentioned just now, have done. Crystal, always a pleasure getting the advice from you for sure. Keep it coming. Uh, I know we didn't get to do slide 17 as such, but we could do that next week.
That's okay.
Always good seeing you, Crystal.